Alright, so this is another exercise that can be fun to come up with creative ideas and just explore new options. This is not an assignment, I just wanted to show you guys because I think they're really fun. If you want to do one though, go for it. I didn't make an assignment because in order to do this, you have to have a little kid draw a picture for you, and not everyone has access to a little kid who will draw a picture for them. So if you want to do it, go ahead. If not, just know this is a fun idea you can do. Maybe find a drawing a little kid did online or something. But this is a drawing some kids that I know did. Point of this exercise is to take these children's drawing and use them as a jumping off point for inspiration and kind of redesign them and just use the elements that are in the original one to rework them into something new. Okay, so we have this drawing here up in the corner that they drew, and they all took turns adding something to it. So they all helped participate to draw this, and I am going to take this and kind of put my own spin on it. Okay, so we're just going to do 2 layers on this one, keep it real quick. And to start out, I'm going to, let's make that a little smaller actually too, up in the corner. Okay, so to start out, I'm going to block in my major shape. So I'm thinking he's going to have, kind of like in the picture, he's going to have a really low to the ground body and a really short legs, really long body and torso. Okay, so I'm drawing his pelvis here and his rib cage. That's where his neck will be. Okay, draw his shoulder blade. Probably bring that down a little bit more. His legs back here. Not doing anything crazy with the pose because I'm just going to keep this quick and simple. The idea is just, I'm trying to kind of keep it the same pose as the drawing, the original drawing, so you can see the resemblance. But if you want to get a little crazier with your pose, you totally can. So the other rib cage, or the other shoulder blade, is going to be back there. Awesome. So that's what I'm thinking sort of for the body. And I'm going to bring this a little closer, make it a little longer. Okay. Then we'll have his tail come up pretty similar to how it is in the original. Okay. Okay, and then for his head, we're going to have it come up here like this. And we'll have his head be right up here. And I'm going to try and somewhat keep that box shape that's in the original. So it's kind of reminiscent of that. And we're going to have his mouth slightly open so we can get that tongue sticking out. Have his little nose like we have in the original. Has that little cute triangle nose. Alright, and then his head here, I'm going to flatten his head even more. His head has this horn here that's going to be coming right out of the middle. And then he has these antenna type things. Okay, and then his eyes, going to be really simple little eyes. And he has like a beard thing, I think that's what that is, so we'll add that in, and then his hair on top of his head. Something roughly like that. Okay. Then I think overall his entire head and neck area is just a little too big, so I'm going to shrink it down. So fantastic being able to work digitally and just resize things as you need to as you're working. It's really convenient. Okay. Okay, and then it will come over here. Moving really quick, keeping it really loose. And then we can deal with the tail on the final layer. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. Just want to block in where all of his main limbs and general volumes are. Okay. And then, so he has this big loop thing on his back, and I think I'm just going to have that be kind of like a spot, and we'll put some more spots on him too, kind of like a dog, because he has spots all on his neck as well. So I'm not going to do it exactly like that, because I don't really like the way it looks, but I am just going to add some of my own. Okay, and then, oh yeah, one last thing, I almost forgot this part. So he has like these weird, I don't know if it's a wing or claws or what, but I'm just going to put them kind of like these large spiny sort of outgrowths from his side here. They're not really wings. I don't know what they would be or what you would call them, but They're there in the original, so I just want to add them here as well. So that's what we're doing. Alright, so that would be our rough layer. Let's go ahead and refine this and do one more layer. So, new layer, lower the opacity. Okay, we can actually get rid of that picture up in the corner because we have everything we need in this first one. Oops, it looks like I drew it all in the same layer, so we're not getting rid of that. Okay, make sure on the right layer this time, and let's do our finished pass. So I'm gonna start up here on his back, these spines here, and you know what? I'm going to lower the opacity just a little bit more on that layer. That's working. Looks good. Got his backside here. Work on his leg. Then we got, let's do these other spines while we're over here. Okay. Looking good. Grab his tail. I'm gonna rework that a little bit. Okay. He does have spines going all the way down his tail, so I'll probably do that, but I might just have it go down his whole body then if we're gonna go that route. So let's work on his chest cavity here. And that hind leg needs to be a little bit bigger. Right now it's raining outside. I love working to the sound of the rain. It's so calming. I don't know if that's perfectly lined up in perspective, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. We're just going to finish this out. This leg over here. Oh, let's finish his feet on this side before we move on to that side. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to have to fix that hind leg. It just looks too weird. Thought I could leave it and let it fly, but I can't. Too big of a perfectionist, I guess. So let's fix it. That looks more accurate. And we'll lengthen the femur here. Alright, that'll have to do. That's enough of that. Okay. It's not perfect, but that's okay. Alright, so we have his neck here that we need to do. And since he has this little beard thing going on, I'm going to put a little bit of hair down here as well. This will come up here to his head. Let's zoom in so we're not drawn so tiny, that'll help. Bring his mouth corners up to just about there. We're not going to go all the way like in the sketch. We're just going to stop it about there. Okay. Get his nose in here. For his eyes, I'm thinking, what if we moved his eyes down more? That would make him look a little bit happier. What does it look like in the original? Huh? His eyes are kind of up here more in the original. But maybe we should do it? I kind of like the way it looks. I think we should do that instead. So that's what we're going to do. Make a creative decision here. Okay. I'm going to put some little whiskers here. There's whisker holes anyways. Just kind of add some more detail. I'm going to put, let's do like a little bit of a eye patch of fur here that they have above the eyes sometimes. The original doesn't have ears, and I don't think I'm going to add them. I think it looks good how it is, so we'll just leave the ears out. But we will do, let's do the horn now. There's some ridges on it. I want you to notice that I don't ever just do the stripes or things like this, right? The only way that would ever happen is if you're looking straight on at a small section of it, right? But we're not looking at it straight on. So the lines are going to be curved, right? We still know they're bands, right? Going up, but they follow the form of the object. So try and refrain from just ever doing straight lines just all the way across something. That's very, very rare that that ever happens, unless it's specifically lined up for that to take place. So keep that in mind. And then this side. And then let's get all this weird hair stuff we have going on. I'm going to kind of make it look like it's emanating from where the horn is. It's interesting how kids can come up with something that at first glance seems kind of odd or unappealing, but once it's reworked a little bit, you can come up with some pretty interesting and appealing designs. So something that's pretty cool, I think. I'll put a little ear hole up there. That'll be good enough. Alright. And then for some of the final touches, what we're going to do is add some spikes going down his back, like what are in the original on the tail, but we're going to put it all over his whole back, just so it makes more sense, a little more uniform. When I was a kid and I would draw creatures and stuff, I wasn't amazing, I was just a little kid, but I always used to have this internal dilemma where I would want to draw, I would play pretend with my friends, and I would always want to draw the creature I was pretending to be, or the creature that I was riding, or whatever was my pet, you know, and I'd always want to be like, okay, I'm writing this, right? I would describe what I was writing, I'd draw a picture, like, this is what it looks like, the thing that I'm writing looks like this, and I would draw a picture, but the problem is that it always looked so cool when you put spikes on its back, but at the same time, I knew that I couldn't ride that. Like, how could you ride something with spikes all over its back? That would hurt, right? You couldn't put a saddle on it. And so I'd always have this dilemma between whether or not I should put spikes on it or not, because the spikes looked cooler, but you couldn't ride it if it had spikes on it. And it was always a big deal for me. Alright, so I'm just putting in the spots here. I'm gonna have a big spot on his hindquarters here. I remember one time I was creating a creature, and I came up with this creature, and I decided to call it a griffin, and I didn't know what a real griffin was at the time. I'd never heard of that, and I saw it in a book one time, and I was like blown away, like, what? That's a real thing? I was like so confused why they were calling something a griffin, because I was like, I made that up. That's like my idea. How did they know that? But it wasn't my idea. Griffins have been around, or at least the idea of griffins have been around a lot longer than I have, so pretty sure they didn't steal my idea. I'm not going to do spots everywhere. I'm going to keep it pretty simple. Okay, so I think we can call this one good. That's it. So yeah, it's just a fun little exercise that you can do to help you generate ideas, you know. Maybe you don't like this one completely, but you see things in it that you're like, man, I could use that in something else, right? If I tweak this and kind of just get rid of walk away from the reference and do what I want with it, you can come up with some pretty great ideas. I'm just going to go ahead and center him a little more on the page so that he's not off here at the bottom. But yeah. There you go. That is it for this lecture, and I'll see you guys in the next one.